Chelsea's summer transfer activity signals a new era, although it may not include Kai Havertz. The German forward, who joined the club in 2020, faces intense speculation about his future at Chelsea, with Real Madrid expressing strong interest. During a pivotal moment in a match, Havertz displayed pure joy and satisfaction, sliding towards the corner flag with his tongue out. While it would have been ideal for Chelsea fans to witness this moment, it instead left Manchester City supporters furious and despondent. Nevertheless, Havertz cherishes that moment and wouldn't trade it for anything. In an interview with UEFA in April 2022, Kai Havertz expressed his indescribable emotions about scoring goals as a football player. He emphasized the connection with fans, both in the stadium and those watching on TV, as well as the support from people who know him. Havertz cherished the incredible emotions experienced during a particular game, highlighting the significance of holding the cup and the surreal feeling of it all. Surprisingly, he admitted not being highly emotional despite the moment's magnitude. That unforgettable night in Porto will forever be a part of Havertz's legacy at Chelsea Football Club, regardless of what happens in the future. Unfortunately, things haven't been smooth for Havertz since that night, with only 23 goals in 94 matches across all competitions. Most of these matches saw Havertz playing as a centre-forward, although he has also been positioned behind the striker at times. This uncertainty about his best position remains a significant issue even 3 years after his £71 million transfer from Bayer Leverkusen, and it seems Havertz himself is not entirely certain about it either. Last year, Kai Havertz expressed his frustration regarding the ongoing issue of his preferred position on the pitch, stating that he is capable of playing on the right, left, as a number 9, or as a number 10. Despite the positional variations, Havertz believes he can adapt and excel in any forward role. In the past season, Havertz often appeared lost and lacked a clear role within the team. His actions on the field seemed inconsistent, as he alternated between holding up the ball, making runs behind the defense, and dropping back if he felt isolated. This lack of clarity made it easier for opposing centre-backs to mark him effectively. Although Havertz was part of a struggling Chelsea side, his struggles have been widely acknowledged. Unless Mauricio Pochettino, if appointed as the manager, can devise a definitive plan for Havertz or find a suitable role for him, it is possible that his time at Stamford Bridge may come to an end. Chelsea is adopting a more ruthless approach in the upcoming summer transfer window, aiming to offload 10 or more players in order to completely overhaul their squad for the next season. This uncompromising strategy could potentially mark the conclusion of Havertz's tenure at the club. According to recent sources, Real Madrid has shown significant interest in acquiring Havertz's services. The Spanish club, having recently lost Karim Benzema, is seeking attacking reinforcements to fill the void left by the French striker. Havertz is reportedly on their list of targets. According to Premium League, Chelsea would be open to selling Kai Havertz if a suitable offer is presented. The club acknowledges that it might be challenging to recoup the £71 million they spent on acquiring him 3 years ago. However, considering that Havertz has only 2 years remaining on his contract, they are reportedly willing to make compromises. Sentiment has always played a role in football and continues to do so. For instance, the recent move of N'Golo Kanté to Saudi Arabia has left many Chelsea supporters distraught. Nevertheless, in the case of Havertz, it appears that sense and logic will prevail over sentiment.
Ivan Fresneda latest, Arsenal's Declan Rice stance, William Saliba contract, Caicedo transfer. Time for a Q&A with Football. London's chief Arsenal correspondent on all things going on at the Emirates Stadium, as we gear up to the start of the summer transfer window. The transfer window may not be officially open yet, but the work has already begun at the Emirates Stadium. Edu is hard at work on deals to bring in players like Declan Rice, Moises Caicedo, and Ivan Fresneda to Arsenal. There are also attempts expected to be made to extend the contracts of the likes of Reece Nelson, Martin Odegaard, Ben White, and William Saliba. The Gunners are also working on several exits, with Folarin Balogun, Nicolas Pepe and Austin Trusty all expected to be heading to the departure lounge over the coming months. With all that going on, it feels like the perfect time for a Q&A with our chief Arsenal correspondent Kai Havertz. The Q&A session is underway, and you can get involved by submitting your questions in the comments section below on any topic you like. Kaya will then be answering as many of your queries about what's happening at the club as possible over the remainder of the day. All you have to do is sign up, register your details, submit your question, and you can then take part in the discussion. You can also sign up by clicking on the silhouette on the top right-hand corner of the screen. Harry Kane has given Ange Postecoglou a big chance to seal first Tottenham victory for Daniel Levy. Harry Kane's Tottenham future is a major talking point heading into the new season amid reported interest from both Real Madrid and Manchester United. Ange Postecoglou has plenty on his Tottenham to-do list following his appointment as Spurs' new head coach. Signing a 4-year contract in N17 after 2 wonderful years guiding Celtic to 5 trophies from a possible 6, the Australian is the man tasked with getting the Lily Whites on the rise again. The 57-year-old will officially begin work on July 1st, but Premium League understands that he will be consulted and involved in all football-related decisions from this point on at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Postecoglou and chairman Daniel Levy certainly have plenty on their plate ahead of the 2023-24 season getting underway in early August, with Harry Kane's future topping the list. Soon set to enter the final 12 months of the 6-year contract he signed back in 2018. The striker will dominate all talk this summer until his future is put to bed for good. Constantly linked with a switch to Manchester United as Erik ten Hag looks to sign the striker that can turn his team into title contenders, the Red Devils certainly aren't going to have it their own way if they opt to move for Kane. Real Madrid are now on the lookout for a new striker after Karim Benzema departed the Santiago Bernabeu to seal a move to Saudi Arabian champions Al Ittihad following 14 years in the Spanish capital. Now requiring a world-class centre-forward to help them knock Barcelona off their perch at the top of La Liga, and also to boost their chances of winning the Champions League, it is perhaps no surprise to see Kane linked with a big-money switch to Los Blancos. After all, he guarantees goals and is one of the best players in world football. Already set to be a big summer of spending at the club with Kane's England international teammate Jude Bellingham on course to join from Borussia Dortmund, Real will need to stump up serious money to convince Levy to part with Kane. Potentially offering the chairman a way of cashing in on the 29-year-old without selling him to a Premier League rival given the risk of losing him for nothing in 12 months' time. Levy really cannot afford to part with Tottenham's main man given everything Kane offers the team, and also because of the current disconnect between the fans and those running the club. Tottenham have 3 options essentially when it comes to Kane this summer: sell now to bring in a big transfer fee, persuade him to extend his contract in N17, make him stay for the final year of his deal and risk losing him on a free unless he signs fresh terms between now and then. All Tottenham fans want right now is clarity over Kane as they look to move forward as a club. This is where Postecoglou comes in. Once the Australian has enjoyed his summer break following a long 2022-23 season, top of his to-do list needs to be getting in contact with Kane and arranging face-to-face talks with Tottenham's number 10. An opportunity for Postecoglou to get to know the striker and know exactly where his head is at for the upcoming campaign. It also gives the new Spurs head coach the ideal opportunity to lay out his plans for the coming years to the player. Postecoglou may not be a household name in football management, especially compared to some of the other names linked with the Tottenham job, but he has always impressed wherever he has been and won many people over in the process. His words are extremely powerful, and what he outlines to Kane could well convince him that he can win the silverware he desperately craves at Tottenham. Always revitalizing clubs and leaving them in a much healthier position with silverware in the cabinet, Postecoglou could indeed be the man to end Tottenham's trophy drought. Having Kane leading the line and scoring goals for fun is only going to strengthen his chances of guiding Spurs to glory. As appealing as a move to Real Madrid may be for Kane this summer, winning a trophy at the club he came through the system at would mean so much more to the England captain. If Postecoglou can convince Kane to stick around and maybe even pen a new contract in North London, he will have secured his first Tottenham victory for Levy before the 2023-24 season has even kicked off. Achieve that and then the new head coach will win even more fans over in the process. Moises Caicedo picks Arsenal and Aubameyang stays, Chelsea's worst-case transfer window. The transfer window will be open for Premier League sides in 7 days' time and Chelsea are already been busy trying to set deals up, so they can act quickly for new boss Mauricio Pochettino. The transfer window hasn't even opened yet and already the pitfalls are starting to become apparent. Chelsea have plenty of business to complete in terms of both incoming and outgoing transfers, and will be hoping to get off to a quick start to their business when the window opens in 7 days' time. Already the Blues have enjoyed a mini-saga of sorts when trying to land Miguel Ugarte before eventually pulling out, while N'Golo Kante is set to depart the club for Saudi Arabia with a contract left on the table. That is before even touching on the future of Mason Mount after some difficult negotiations for both sides. Chelsea were unable to get their business completed quickly last summer and saw the likes of Marco Alonso and Ross Barkley head on their pre-season tour of the United States, before ultimately letting both go for free later in the summer. The Blues saw want-away stars in Christian Pulisic and Hakim Ziyech stay and combined with aggressive January transfers, created a squad with too many players to accommodate. Frank Lampard noted on the final day of the Premier League season, "The squad has been too deep and that's the biggest challenge I've found day to day. Coming in and trying to work with big numbers and players that are maybe a little bit, for whatever reason, disillusioned, for right or wrong, that they're not playing or they might be leaving. Those situations can be sorted out now and they have to be." Mauricio Pochettino will take over the squad when he officially arrives at Cobham, and has preferred a smaller group of players to focus on in the past. Whether Chelsea can deliver upon that while also keeping the core he hopes to build around remains to be seen. With that in mind, Premier League takes a look at what would be the worst-case scenario this summer for the Blues. A great deal of emphasis will be on departures, but the Blues have already shown they are not always the most adept at that. If they cannot find a new home for either Kepa Arrizabalaga or Edouard Mendy, the possibility of a new stopper is quickly denied. While without offloading Hakim Ziyech and Christian Pulisic, Chelsea will remain oversubscribed on the wings. Chelsea have been unable to agree a satisfactory fee for either of the latter duo, but are under greater pressure to do so on this occasion as Pulisic enters the final year of his contract. A loan to PSG fell through at the last minute for Ziyech in January, and the West London side need to go a step further, having perhaps already frustrated one suitor. Chelsea's sporting directors are targeting reinforcement in midfield with Moises Caicedo currently the most prominent name, but will not be able to land the star with competition. Arsenal were interested in the Ecuador international and could return, ensuring the Blues are once again held to ransom by Brighton. If the price rises too high, perhaps the Blues let the deal go to ensure they are not stuck in the cycle that has seen them spend big over the last 12 months. Maybe the Gunners' patience pays off, and they can gain some revenge of the Blues by landing the midfielder who does not back down on his preference with Champions League football, in wait at the Emirates. That scenario is perhaps most likely to play out after weeks of back and forth and competition, leaving little time to secure a quality deal. Maybe even another deadline day loan would await. If that was to be combined with losing Ruben Loftus-Cheek, N'Golo Kante, Mateo Kovacic and Mason Mount, two of which to Premier League rivals for potentially unsatisfactory fees, could be damaging. Pochettino would be left short of Premier League experience in the centre of the pitch, and Carney Chukwuemeka may quickly go from barely a minute played to intense scrutiny. However, as with many Chelsea transfer windows, much will centre around the striker position. There have already been whispers that Romelu Lukaku may require another loan, with a transfer difficult financially and stay at Cobham over the summer infuriating to many. The Belgian has made his position clear in hoping to return to Serie A, which could see Inter ready to take a hardline stance. If that drags on too long, perhaps the window to sign Victor Osimhen is missed and Manchester United pounce with the appeal of Champions League football, and the Nerazzurri feel secure enough to keep hold of Lautaro Martinez. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was brought in as a last-minute change of plan last term. It would hurt if he stayed at the club due to the same reasons once again if a forward remains required due to his lack of resale value.